Guess who's back? Back again. How's everybody doing in social media land? Facebook, X, Twitter. Well, surprise stream, Brendan says. How's everybody going? How's everybody doing, man? Well, it has been a little while since I've done a live stream, and there's good reason for that. Number one, I was off. For the second week in June. Had some family time, went to Cabo San Lucas. That was good. But we've got some storms to talk about. And boy, this weather pattern is just relentless. It just doesn't quit as we have this northwest flow weather pattern. So we're going to dive into several things. Number one, we're going to dive into why the weather pattern is so active. Two, we're going to dive into the weather forecast for tomorrow, which concerns me for severe weather and tornado potential. And we'll also take a look at the heat and humidity that's building back in. And we'll show you some of the things that we've got working on behind the scenes. But Jessica says, let me guess, more rain. So hope everybody is doing well. I know it's been a long time. And this is something that a comment came from YouTube. Says, these take a long time to start. We type up the description, and as soon as we hit go into the studio, YouTube sends us notification we're about to go live. So that's why it takes a little while. We got a lot of things to do behind the scenes, build a slate, also update the app to push a notification out and all that stuff. So, and then we got someone saying, hopefully no bad tornado threat for Rudy, Arkansas. You know, interestingly enough, the River Valley is excluded from this severe weather potential, but I think that's going to change by tomorrow. So, all right. What time is the storm coming? That leads me into what we've got here cooking. And so I'll dive into the timing, and then we'll go into the details in terms of, kind of the why behind the weather, as I like to call it. And we got someone on here, a familiar face as well. Let's see, where did they go? Right here. Meteorologist Davion Huggins. Even when he's not working, he's working. And then you got Josh Rugger. Josh and I, along with several other news crew members, were walking the streets of Springdale for the Rodeo of the Ozarks parade. I wanted to add that last bit, just so you know we weren't walking the streets. Let's dive into it. First of all, what is the timing of this? So here's the storm potential for tomorrow. Models are trying to bring in some storms tomorrow afternoon. I'm not buying that. Or should I say Friday afternoon? This is the 2-day timeline for showers and storms. And the one thing you'll notice is we've got that severe weather risk that's going to be ramping up for Thursday afternoon. Now, here's the deal. There is very little questioning between the models if there will be storms or not. There will be severe weather potential, and there will be thunderstorm activity. I don't think it's a question. It's always a question as to where the storms are going to be. That obviously is always a question. And also, will they be, supercells or more of a linear environment? However, the linear storm mode, I still think severe weather potential is on the table, and we're going to go into that. Josh says, I'll watch the replay tomorrow morning. I have a great stream, man. He's got to hit the hay, right? Because he's got to wake up early in the morning. But we've already been hanging out with him. Scott says, this keeps messing up with my Silver Dollar City plans. And we'll go into the future radar here in just a bit. I do expect the risk area to expand. Not only that, I expect an enhanced risk to be out by tomorrow. That's been typically the norm, is you got this marginal threat. The next day it's upgraded to a slight, and then typically you've got, the potential for an enhanced risk. Taylor says, I'll take the rain tie over the tornado tie any day. I won't be wearing the tornado tie 2 days out. There's definitely no question about that. So there's your forecast for Northwest Arkansas. River Valley, a little bit less. However, I kind of question if there will be an enhanced risk for parts of Southwest Missouri, and the marginal and slight will shift a little bit farther south. I think that's what's going to happen tomorrow. We're going to see an expansion of this risk, and we'll kind of dive into all the details, and we'll show you some of the stuff, the tools that we're using behind the scenes to kind of tell a weather story. But here's what we've got with Heil Heating Cooling Mega Doppler right now. Mega Doppler is quiet. As expected, there's a little bit of rain that's popped up in eastern Johnson County. Northeast Fort Douglas is getting a little bit of rain that's popping up, and that's pretty much about it. After that, the storm activity is gone, and that won't develop until tomorrow morning as the low-level jet starts to kick in. So here's your River Valley forecast. Again, those storm chances are a little less at 40%. That could change, though, as more energy moves in. So before we get into the reason why this weather pattern is so active, let's take a look at what the latest has for Comedy Central. I call it Comedy Central because the models, oh my goodness, as you know, they struggle so much with this weather pattern. It's northwest flow. This is the exact reason I say you got to know it's northwest flow. So first of all, tonight, pretty quiet. No storms expected. Rodeo the Ozarks will go off without a hitch, if you will. No getting kicked off a bull or a horse tonight from the weather. Now, tomorrow, let's just say the weather is going to get a little bullish, if you will, pun intended, as the storms are going to be moving in. There's Thursday late morning. Originally, it had a lot more storms. Now it kind of drops them off, which, by the way, if you look at the latest day one convective outlook, and I'm thankful that they removed this. The marginal threat is no longer in existence. There's just no energy. There's no support coming in. But let's talk about tomorrow. Let's dive into tomorrow. Tomorrow, I think, is the real deal risk, honestly. It's not the greatest risk we've ever seen, but I think severe weather potential is definitely on the table. Now, my timing window as of now is 3 p.m. Thursday. So, hey, during the day, imagine that. We've got storms that you could actually see instead of seeing only lightning flashes and everything else just dying. And so Stella says, welcome back. Well, thank you so much. Appreciate it. We're going to talk about the different storms and the individual threats as well. Thank you so much. Appreciate you as well. Did I miss the update for tomorrow? Nope. We're diving into that right now. Wow. Thank you so much. I appreciate that as well. There is the risk. It's a level 2. It includes Northwest Arkansas. As of now, that level 1 only makes it to I-40. I think that's going to change looking at some of the latest computer model forecasts. All hazards are on the table: large hail, damaging winds, and isolated tornadoes. Let's take a look here at the timing of the future track, and you'll see that it's already got some isolated development, but there will be a definite lull in activity. Now, one of the things that we do is we put the instability underneath the reflectivity that's expected, the future radar, the composite reflectivity. And the reason we do this is we show the fuel that's available for these thunderstorms. So the yellow shades show some greater instability. When it starts getting dark orange, they're talking about even more instability. And look at what's happening by tomorrow afternoon. We got southerly winds, which is increasing the wind shear, and we're going to take a look at soundings. We've got temperatures that are in the mid to upper 80s to lower 90s. And then you'll see, some isolated storms popping up ahead of this line. So this is the timing window, 4 o'clock. There's some isolated storm activity where there could very likely be enough shear for tornado potential. Here's a look at the rest of our future track and look at those storms blossoming, and also look at what's coming into Northwest Arkansas. So storms are on the table tomorrow. And I'll show you when we compare the individual models, you'll see a lot more storm activity that's expected. And look at that. That gets a little dicey by 6 o'clock in the evening on Thursday. And then you'll see over time, those storms are going to move out. So this is more of a daytime event for us tomorrow compared to the last several systems that have been during the evening and into the overnight hours. So yes, storms are going to be in the forecast. And then look at this, additional rain and thunderstorm activity popping up. This weather pattern is so active because it's northwest flow. By Friday afternoon, I don't think there's going to be as much storm activity. I think everything kind of drops off, if you will. But as we go throughout Friday afternoon, there could be a lingering shower. Let's see what it shows. A few lingering showers. I think Rodeo the Ozarks for day 2 is going to be, or day 3, should I say, is going to be fine. Day 2 is going to get a little bit bumpy. So let's look at the individual threats on these storms. And first of all, first thing you need to notice is that the tornado potential is there. Now, as of now, the latest update, which is the day 2 convective outlook updated at 1730, it shows strong tornado potential in northwestern sections of our weather coverage area. That's that hatched area, which, by the way, Josh and Davion, the previous graphic did not show the hatched area. I had to change it. We had to do some adjustments, and so I added all of these panels to have the hatched area now. So they all should be fixed. But before, they didn't have that. Yeah, Rodeo is tomorrow night, and tomorrow night is going to get, I think, a little dicey. Well, I think you're going to be delayed, Ava, when you're talking about a flight out of XNA, and we'll look at that again from different models. But I want to drop off this camera image, which I've already done. Damaging winds and large hail all going to be possible. Now, remember, this is for the day 2 convective outlook. Remember, this is going to be updated at 1 o'clock in the morning tomorrow, and I could easily see this getting upgraded to a level 3 in Southwest Missouri. It just makes sense looking at the energy and what's happening in terms of the amount of upper level support, and we'll get to that in just a bit. Here's something that I've done that Davion Aleshly and I really love. So we're able to go through all the models really quickly without hunting and pecking for them because I've added them to the data set. So we can literally look at different models and compare. Now, it won't keep the same time. I'll show you something that does keep the same time. But here's what we've got. In case you're just tuning in, tomorrow afternoon we'll get a little stormy. A lot of upper level support, some jet stream energy moving in, and not only that, but you got wind shear that's increasing, and so that's all going to bring the potential for severe weather. Now, before you see, oh, the storms are weakening as they move in, Davion, I think you can attest to this, and you can comment away, but the graph has been pretty crap, if you will. I mean, it's been pretty trashed as it's been very, very, let's just say, inconsistent on bringing storms when it should be, and then it brings in storms when it shouldn't. So it's a tricky weather pattern. I get it. But a couple days out, it doesn't even show storms, and then the day before, it weakens them, and then the day of, they end up blowing up all over the place. All models are pretty consistent showing this activity. Case in point, here's the graph 4 kilometer. Here's the HRRR as we load it up. Again, there's Thursday afternoon, storms popping up. We'll look at the NAM 3 kilometer. This also has, granted, not as much coverage, storms in the afternoon, although it keeps most of the storm activity to the west. But remember, you don't look at this and say this is exactly what's going to happen. You look at the trends, and that's what we've got. Then, as we go throughout time, you'll see additional storms popping up, but not as severe because the energy has moved out and the atmosphere is overworked. Let's look at the RPM 13 kilometers. So this is the RPM 13. See how quick we can update and change these to look at different computer model forecasts. Now here you see it's a less of a resolution, but it shows that wave coming in. But I think Davion can attest to this, that upper level support means trouble in terms of thunderstorm development. And I'll show you what I mean by that. But here's a look at Friday morning into the afternoon. Of course, it doesn't show anything, which is pretty typical of the graph and the RPM. And we'll go back to, again, that risk, just to show you why I think the clusters of storms are going to be a little more abundant to the northwest. Let's look at the GEM and see what it's got. So this is the Canadian model, 10 kilometer. We go through Thursday morning, a few isolated storms. I think that's a very real threat, honestly. Isolated storms popping up in parts of the River Valley and southern northwest Arkansas. I can totally see that happening. Then as we go throughout time on Thursday, those storm chances are going to be developing. And look at this. Even the GEM has that storm activity moving in. Granted, it's not super widespread, but remember, this is a lower resolution model. And then finally, the Euro 9 kilometer. So basically, this updates every 6 hours. And we got to go back in time and look at the amount of storms that this has. To be honest with you, the Euro has been better than some of the higher resolution models in predicting storm activity. I think it doesn't second guess itself. Here's Thursday morning, isolated activity in the River Valley, very likely. We get a lull during the middle of the day, and then look at those storm chances ramping back up. Finally, let's take a look at the NAM 20 kilometer, and the NAM 20 kilometer shows those storms popping up. Check, testing 1, 2. I think we've got sound again. What in the world happened there? Thank you, Gremlins. Golly. All right. Maybe that'll continue to work. First dropped off when it was all connected and plugged in. That's not good. That kind of bugs me a little bit. Davion, text me if it's fixed. That is weird. I have no idea why the sound just dropped out like that. All right, let me get the microphone back on. If it's not one thing, it's the other, right? All right. I bet you we have 47 million comments saying that no sound. Okay, we're good now. What happened there? What in the world? I go to a graphic and I know the mic should be working through all of that. Why would it just drop out when it was working? That doesn't make any sense. I'm not surprised though. This is why. All right, so let's go back to let's go to this. Go back to Max 1 here. Still got sound, still good there. Yeah, I know it's Wednesday, but this is for Thursday. So Thursday, we're looking at this severe weather potential. But there is a look at the day 2 convective outlook. Now, remember, I think this is going to be updated. I think this is going to expand, looking at the latest. And not only that, but you can also look at the energy that's moving in. And even the Storm Prediction Center has been talking about it. The only reason they don't have a higher risk at day 2 is because there's uncertainty. But take a look at the water vapor here, and you're going to see a lot of energy that's swinging in, and it's going to be riding up and over the periphery of this ridge. This is why the weather pattern has been so active, by the way. There's just been multiple systems that have dove in this northwest flow, and you know the saying, you got to know it's northwest flow. There's the energy that's moving in. All right, now that I was talking about this, I'm going to bring this up real quick. This is something that we have that is called 479WX. It's a weather blog, and it'll tell you all about it. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to put this into our live stream comments. It's going to be a link. It's going to be a link, and this is basically about 479WX. So what is this? This is the first interactive weather experience where when you post something, I can bring it up on the radar really, really fast, really quick. In fact, we can give you an example of this if someone posts on there. But 479WX is a real-time weather community, and basically all you have to do is go to 479WX and log in. And get an account signed up. So let me go to a copy link address here. I'll post that as the weather blog, and then I'll also post the link right here. This is great to sign up for now, because what this will do is it allows you to comment and report and post, and we'll be able to show information. So let me go here. Go back here. So 479WX is the website. Here's the regular website if you couldn't get onto the grid. Yeah, so much technology, damn bumping for a raise. You're going to get bored. I know. Why did that drop off, though, that audio? So 479WX is where you get mapped. You have pins that pop up, and there's a look at the stuff that you can report on. And let's say you have wall clouds or pictures or anything else like that. So, for instance, this just got a report that came in. So check this out. You're going to love this. So let's say we're covering severe weather, and someone sends in a picture of a wall cloud. Now, if you send it on Facebook Messenger, I might not see it until 7 days from now, because I'll get the notification. I can't keep looking at that because I'm looking at the radar, because you can't turn your eye from a storm as you have all this activity that's happening. So, for instance, here's Mega Doppler, and looky what we have here. We have a report that came in. So we go here, we click on that, and we have an interesting report here, but we can bring this up, click on it, it'll bring up a picture, and it looks like we have pi. So severe pi falling in Fayetteville. So this right here is a report that came in 1 minute ago, and look at how fast we could add that to the radar. And then on top of that, look at this. There's a picture of the pi, so we can show it in real time. And that helps us, and then we can also move the radar too on top of that so it's not covering it up. Then, in order to get rid of it, we just double click, boom, there's the report. We know if there's a report. It's kind of like MPing, only MPing on steroids. And by the way, something new is that we've got the stream added to that as well. So if we have a live stream, you can get on the app, you can watch the live stream, and it's all right. It's basically all at your fingertips. So for instance, we'll continue. All right. Of course, you got to sign in and all that stuff, and we'll do that. All right, back to what's happening now weather-wise. This is what I want to kind of show you is that it's been active, and we'll, again, provide a lot of updates tomorrow. But this is what we've had going on over the last several days is this northwest flow weather pattern. This is why Davion, this is why Josh, why Leslie and I have been having headaches because of this weather pattern is called chain reaction forecasting. Chain reaction forecasting basically causes, downstream effects of what is going to happen in your area. Case in point, we had the MCS that came through this morning into the afternoon. And if we look at the wider view, you can definitely see that ridge of high pressure. But at the same time, we're not quite directly under the ridge, not until next week. Instead, we've got the periphery of the ridge. So therefore, thunderstorms develop east of the Rocky Mountains in the higher terrain, and then it drops southeast and moves into our weather coverage area. Now, where is that energy that's moving in? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the jet stream. And you'll see with the jet stream, we've got this activity that, see that little dip in the jet stream right there? It's enough. It's not where the greatest jet is, but there is quite a bit of upper level support. Maybe not necessarily for classic or LP supercells, but definitely for some HP supercells. So here's what we've got with the thunderstorms that came through this morning. And check this out as I zoom out on the wider view. There's the thunderstorms that are off to the west, and then look at what happens over time. They drop southeast. They create their own low pressure system. So basically it creates what's called an MCV, a mesoscale convective vortex. You can see the way that spin is happening in the rain and the storms. That MCV is what enhances the precipitation. Look at the back edge of the storm system, and then there's that piece of energy that's moving out. Now, the reason I'm showing you that is because check this out. This is the vorticity that's expected from, first of all, what happened today was this energy that moved in, and look at what we have moving in tomorrow. See that? Let it update and load. That's a lot of energy, folks, and it's coming in. It's already forming storms to the west. The only question is how much storm activity will be developing ahead of or basically preceding the round of storms during the afternoon. If we get a lot of daytime heating, it's going to be game on to watch this for sure. Now, here's another thing that we've got. The HRRR, we can load up the significant tornado parameter. Now, I haven't actually seen this, so it'd be interesting to see what it looks like. But here is Thursday afternoon, and you can kind of see how that ramps up right over our area. Now, this is a little bit more delayed, but Thursday afternoon into the evening is where we have tornado potential. So you can kind of see that building up. If we look at updraft helicity tracks, again, this is all stuff that we can bring up pretty fast just because of, and of course it's got to load the information. There's the updraft helicity tracks. There's the storms that could be essentially rotating tomorrow evening. as they move in. Look at that updraft helicity track by Tulsa. So that shows you a storm spin track, if you will. That's where the storm might be spinning, and that's the track of the storm. So, okay. But that's why the weather pattern has been so active, is that northwest flow, and we will see additional thunderstorms. So if you want to learn more about what's happening weather-wise, again, 479WX is great for us to share that information. You can also provide reports. So if anybody wants to post on 479WX, what you do is you sign up, and then you're going to be having a basically scoff at me, where you can provide your report, and then we'll be able to bring information in there in real time. And there's no filters. You can also, when you use the user location, you can use my location button. You can put in an address search, or you can have an interactive map to pinpoint your location. And so, still working on updates to it, but I think this is really going to be good. We're still in the development process of it. There's still going to be bugs that you encounter. It's got a nice live mosaic radar as well. And just to show you what it looks like here. So here's an example. The live stream has been launched. I'm going to share this tab instead. So here's a real version of what's happening on 479WX. And so there's another report that just came in. So we can click on that, and look, there's Onyx that's sent in the sunset. There's the sunset from Fayetteville. And what's cool about this is, now that we got the report in, well, we can also bring that up on Mega Doppler. So I'm going to do that here real quick. We're going to bounce back to Mega Doppler, and I'm going to bring this up here. And look, we got another report. It's fast, folks. It really is. So we click on this. There's the report of the sunset. Double click this. It'll load up the sunset in real time, and people can get their information out. We can also go back to the smaller view. So we click on this. Alt brings it up full screen. Alt brings it back to small screen, and then we can double click it and remove it. And we can also pin post. Let's say someone behind the scenes is seeing a tornado out of all of these posts. Obviously, they want to know. So here's an example. The live stream has been launched. I'm going to share this tab instead. So here's a Mic check, testing 1, 2, test. I don't understand this, why it's dropping out. Never had that problem before. Case in point, we might need to reboot the computers, honestly. Oh, technology, guys. Gotta love it. Hate to love it. Love to hate it. Unbelievable. I don't know why this is happening. However, obviously we got to reboot. Not good, because if that's happening while we're in the middle of severe weather coverage, I don't understand why that's happening. Because it's mic'd up, it's connected, and then it's so funny too, because I literally jinxed it. I said, man, our audio has never dropped out when we plugged it in. And then, so anyways, we'll get it all working. We'll get it going. But audio card going wonky, possibly. If anyone can fix it, I can. But what do you guys think of 479WX? It's pretty cool. You can learn more about it in the blog. All you got to do is go to NWA homepage. Now, I do want to show you something else that we're working with too. Shout out to Aleshly. Is that push-ups for the mics failing you? I think it is. I think it is push-ups. I think I want to get some steam burnt off here. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to do some diamond push-ups. I haven't worked out today yet. I think this is good. My shoulder, I think, is getting healed too. So I'm going to do some diamond push-ups. And keep talking while I'm doing them too. There we go. That's good. Some diamond push-ups will get it going. Get the blood flowing. Man. You can tell that the weather systems are wonky, because the weather system that's coming in tomorrow could definitely pack a punch. I went into the wrong live, I think. Nice. Question mark on the push-ups. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I want to show you something else. I'm going to show you this. This is something else that we've been working with. And I know many of you weather aficionados that love weather and like to talk about weather. This is a really cool application. Aleshly Castro, our meteorologist, digital meteorologist, and you've seen her on air several times. She interviewed the developer of Weatherfront. And Weatherfront's pretty cool. I got to be honest. There's some really neat things that we can do. Case in point, I'm going to show you as we go into tomorrow afternoon, and you can see the time up at the top left of your screen. This is the HRRR that was updated at 0Z, and I'm going to compare multiple models to see what it looks like with these storms rolling in. So 5, 6 o'clock, the HRRR, the RRFS, old version, doesn't show jack squat for Thursday. But then it shows it all moving in at midnight. So it shows you timing that is a little bit uncertain. But it still has the storms. Oh, yeah. It still has quite a bit of storms. But remember how the RRFS typically chooses violence. So going back to the HRRR, then we go to the RRFS, then we go to the RRFS version 2. Version 2 has some storms as well, but maybe not quite as much. So that would be good. But it still shows that energy moving into the river valley where there's no severe weather risk at all. So it's all chain reaction forecasting, and even the greatest models are going to have trouble with this. Let's go to the NSSL HT. That's for Thursday. You notice how we can change the time and it keeps the same time, which I really love. Here's the NAM Nest, the newest NAM Nest. Not surprised it doesn't have anything, because it's all chain reaction forecasting, and they struggle big time. There it's got some storms. Look at the NAM 0Z. This is not fully updated, but it does go through Thursday. Look how it has that wave coming in, and then it just falls apart. The RAP Okay, the RAP has precipitation and storms. You can see that. The GFS 18Z, it's also got storms. The Icon model, that's got storms, but to the north on Thursday. The HREF, high resolution ensemble forecast. There's a look. It's got, see how the trends, it's got that wave of energy coming in, and then the REFS, it's also got storms. So there's all of your different models that you can compare. Let's go back to the HRRR. Let's just go to single run. And then what we're going to do is we're going to compare runs. Now, this is cool too. We can go back in time and we can see what this looked like at 6 o'clock on the 0Z. But then you look at the 18Z update and the 12Z update. Look how there's barely anything at 12Z. 6Z, it's got storms. 0Z from yesterday, it's got storms. So I think that's definitely an uptick in storm potential. Then you can go into here and we can look at all the severe products too. So let's take a look at some surface-based CAPE tomorrow. That's a lot of instability. Let's do this and click and request a sounding. So we're going to look at a sounding here, making sure that we're all in this. You got that? Wind shear, not super great, but keep in mind that's before the low-level jet kicks in. So if we go forward in time a little bit, and we can look at that by looking at the 0 to 1 kilometer storm relative velocity, and there's where the storm relative velocity starts to increase. So if we request the sounding, the low-level jet kicks in around 6 o'clock, and that's not a spectacular profile right there. It's a very rainy one, but it's not spectacular. Let's look at the significant tornado parameter. We already kind of looked at that. You saw that nudging in overnight, and that's because of the 925 winds, which is nice. You can also look at that as well. So kind of a neat little product where we can look at different models, look at different things. And then on top of that, it also has the convective outlook. So we go here. There's the flood watch that's in effect for eastern Oklahoma and Scott County. Then we can look at the Storm Prediction Center. We can look at the convective outlook for today. Doesn't have anything. The day 2, there's the slight risk. Then you can look at the tornado potential, and you can see that it does include a good portion of Benton County under that risk. And that makes sense with that system coming in. And that's going to be tomorrow afternoon into the evening. Now, I've got another thing here, too, that I want to share. And that is when we're looking at forecast timing, and I'm excited about this, the Storm Prediction Center finally fixed these tabs, and I'm going to share this tab instead. So this is kind of a look at the different timing of these storms across the area. I posted this on social media, but here is Northwest weather coverage area, and you got Miami, Oklahoma, that's got that tornado potential ramping up after 3 o'clock, and then it kind of levels off at 9 o'clock and then drops back down to 1 a.m. And disappears. But the most likely time for storms is going to be, the majority of it will be before sunset. There you see sunset on the screen right there. Love these graphics. They help so much, and making sure that we've got all that on there. So there's a look at your timing. Then we'll go back and we'll look at Rogers, Arkansas. Here's Rogers. Now remember, this isn't exactly perfect. And you might be looking at this probability and going, oh, 15%, that's nothing. But you have to remember, this is probability of an occurrence within 25 miles of a point. Granted, severe weather potential is always kind of low. Look at the intensity of the tornadoes, though. They could be in the basically lower end of the medium scale. And remember, this is just the day 2 convective outlook that will likely be updated as we go into the day 1. We zoom in a little bit, and you can see that. We'll go back here, and we'll look at another one. So we go to Fayetteville, and look, Fayetteville only has the marginal risk, but it still has that lower-end tornado threat, and then it's got the wind and the hail, and you can see how that bumps up after 3 o'clock, which, case in point, why I have, when we go to the Storm Prediction Center outlook along with the risk, as it pops up on the screen here. What? Come on. Did the microphone go out again? No, didn't. here's a look at the timing. So I have 3 p.m. to 10 p.m., which I think is a good window. Maybe a little later. What's the hail threat? Okay, good question. Hail threat right here, as we take a look, is going to be kind of on the lower end, but remember that could be turned into a hatched area. So if we look at the individual panels, this will tell you a little bit more. Starting to see more development, by the way, south of Jasper on Megadoppler, just a little bit of shower activity. But here's the tornado potential. Strong tornado in northwest sections of our weather coverage area. You got the large hail potential, golf ball size, and then damaging winds. Now that could turn into a hatched area. Yeah, no kidding, Jamie. Got 5 inches of rain from the storm Monday morning, 1 inch today. We are going to see a swamp. So we got additional rain coming in. And keep in mind, the ground's saturated. So this could cause some significant flooding. And when we look at the Weather Prediction Center, I actually haven't shown this yet because there's so many things to show in the weather forecast. The Weather Prediction Center day 1 flooding threat, as it shows those storms popping up across the area. So here's a look at the storm potential and the excessive rainfall forecast. Then this just basically, that's definitely changed. Well, that's the day 3, excuse me. There's the day 2. See how the majority of the storms are going to be north, but we're still going to have to deal with thunderstorms all across the area. So, all right, guys, I think that about wraps it up. We got another newscast coming on. The reason I was able to do this is we recorded our 9 o'clock news, our 10 o'clock news tonight because of soccer. Soccer is going to go. Basically, Mexico is up 2-0 right now, which is kind of cool. Where does one find how much rain we've gotten in the past 24 hours? I keep looking on NWS forecast. You know, that is a very difficult thing to find. However, I do have some maps that will help you out on that. So let me reply to your comment here real quick. Hold on just a second. Weather. All right. Yeah, it's kind of all messed up though. Let's see here. Whoa. Yeah, brother. If you're looking for Benton County, here, I'll give you that. All right. So you can't reply, but here, I'm going to post a link here. This is basically a link to get to the Benton County rain totals. And I can share this as well. So share this tab instead. So here's a look at the Benton County past 24-hour rain totals. And there you see western Benton County picking up on some heavier rain. If we go to Washington County, you'll see that. There's Washington County. So we basically have all the counties. You want to type in something, Crawford County. Let's look at Delaware County. There you go. Look at the bullseye of Delaware County picking up on some heavy rain. Xena and Yuchi, Jay, that's some heavy rain right there, which is why they had the flash flood warnings earlier for northwestern Delaware County. So that's kind of cool. That'll help you out there. All right, guys, I got to run. But Josh Rugger will have a stream tomorrow morning. Hopefully the microphone doesn't drop out. As soon as I get done with this live stream, guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to reboot this computer. So we're going to get that off of there. Let me hide this current comment. McDonald County? Yep. All you got to do is type in McDonald County. We got that as well. Let me show you. McDonald County. Oops. Maybe not. Well, I'll have to see. Was I even showing those? I don't know if I was. Yeah, I think I was. There you got McDonald County too. Or McDonald County, I don't know if some reason it's not loading. Let me keep looking here. Oh, that's because I made a Southwest Missouri one.